Somewhere beneath a hill in central China right now, there is a tomb. Not a ruin, not an excavation site. A tomb, sealed for over 2,000 years. And inside that tomb, according to the ancient records, there are rivers. But not rivers of water, rivers of mercury, flowing continuously underground through the chambers of the most extraordinary burial in human history, surrounding the body of the man who unified China. The man who built the Great Wall. The man who created the concept of a single unified nation from hundreds of warring kingdoms. The man who was so obsessed with immortality that he may have died trying to achieve it. His name was Qin Shi Huang. He was the first emperor. And his tomb has been sitting sealed beneath that hill for 2,200 years. Scientists have found it. They have mapped it. They know exactly what is inside. And they will not open it. Because what is inside is so extraordinary and so dangerous that no government on Earth has authorized its excavation. This is his story. The story of the most powerful man who ever lived. Before we go into the tomb, I need you to understand who Qin Shi Huang actually was. Because most people in the Western world know only one thing about him: the Terracotta Army. The extraordinary collection of 8,000 life-sized clay soldiers buried with him to guard his afterlife. Discovered by farmers digging a well in 1974, and now one of the most visited archaeological sites on Earth. But the Terracotta Army is not the story. The Terracotta Army is the entrance hall. It is the waiting room outside the real tomb. And the real tomb has never been opened. What most people do not know is that Qin Shi Huang accomplished something that had never been done before in the history of human civilization, and has rarely been done since. In 221 BC, he unified China. Not through diplomacy, not through negotiation, through absolute, total warfare. For 10 years, he fought 7 separate kingdoms simultaneously, using the most advanced military in the ancient world, an army of over 1 million soldiers, equipped with standardized weapons and organized through a command structure of extraordinary sophistication. One by one, the kingdoms fell. The kingdom of Han, fallen. The kingdom of Wei, fallen. The kingdom of Chu, fallen. The kingdom of Yan, fallen. The kingdom of Zhao, fallen. The kingdom of Qi, fallen. By 221 BC, every kingdom in China answered to one man, Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor. He then did something even more extraordinary than conquering the kingdoms. He erased them. He standardized the writing system so that every person in China wrote the same characters. He standardized the currency so that every market in China used the same coins. He standardized the axle width of every cart in China so that every road in the empire could be used by every vehicle. He built a network of roads that connected his empire from its eastern coast to its western frontier. He began the construction of the Great Wall. He created the concept of China as a unified civilization rather than a collection of competing kingdoms. And then, while doing all of this, he became absolutely terrified of dying. Qin Shi Huang's obsession with immortality is one of the most extraordinary and most disturbing stories in the history of human power. He was 50 years old when his terror of death became all-consuming. Not a quiet, private fear, a consuming public obsession that directed the resources of the most powerful empire on Earth toward the single goal of keeping one specific man alive forever. He sent expeditions to sea, searching for mythical islands where immortal beings were said to live, islands where a specific herb grew that could grant eternal life. The expeditions never returned. Some historians believe the sailors simply never came back because they found new lands and decided not to return. Some historians believe they drowned. What is certain is that Qin Shi Huang never got his immortality herbs, so he turned to a different solution: mercury. The ancient Chinese believed that mercury was the key to immortality, that consuming mercury in the right preparation could purify the body, extend life, and eventually grant eternal existence. Modern science knows that mercury is one of the most toxic substances on Earth, that consuming it causes progressive neurological damage, organ failure, and death. Qin Shi Huang consumed mercury-based elixirs daily. His court physicians recommended them. His alchemists prepared them. And the first emperor, the most powerful man on Earth, drank poison every single day in the specific belief that it was making him immortal. The specific, terrible irony of this is one of the most haunting details in the entire story. The man who was most afraid of dying was slowly killing himself with the very substances he believed were preventing his death. The tomb of Qin Shi Huang was not an afterthought. It was not built after his death. It was constructed during his life, beginning almost immediately after he became emperor and continuing for the entire duration of his reign. According to the ancient Chinese historian Sima Qian, writing approximately 100 years after the emperor's death, the construction of the tomb employed 700,000 workers. 700,000 people, working for 38 years, building a single underground palace for one man's afterlife. To put that scale in context, the Great Pyramid of Giza is estimated to have required 20 to 30,000 workers over 20 years. The tomb of Qin Shi Huang required 20 to 30 times more labor than the most famous construction project in the ancient world. According to Sima Qian's description, which modern archaeological surveys have largely confirmed, the tomb contains an underground palace complex of extraordinary scale, a complete model of the Chinese Empire in miniature, with its specific mountains and rivers and territories all represented in the underground chambers. And the rivers in this underground empire were filled with mercury. Mercury was pumped through the underground chambers to represent the great rivers of China, the Yellow River and the Yangtze River flowing continuously through the underground empire of the dead first emperor. The ancient records describe 100 rivers of mercury flowing beneath the burial mound. Modern scientific surveys using remote sensing technology have confirmed the presence of extraordinarily high mercury concentrations in the soil surrounding the burial mound. The ancient records were telling the truth. There is mercury down there. Extraordinary quantities of mercury. Enough mercury that the soil around the burial mound registers mercury concentrations up to 100 times higher than background levels. The rivers of the dead first emperor are still flowing. 2,200 years later. Still flowing and still dangerous. Stop. Because I need you to understand something about the specific situation that archaeologists face with this specific tomb. They know where it is. They have known where it is for decades. The burial mound is a massive hill, approximately 76 meters high and approximately 500 meters across, that has been visible in the Chinese landscape for 2,000 years. The local people have always known it was a tomb. The ancient records described exactly what was inside. Modern scientific surveys using ground-penetrating radar and soil analysis have mapped the specific internal layout of the underground palace complex with extraordinary accuracy. They know where the burial chamber is. They know where the mercury rivers flow. They know the approximate location of the emperor's body, and they will not open it. Not because they are afraid of a curse, not because they lack the technology, but because of something far more scientifically serious than either of those reasons: the mercury. The extraordinary quantities of mercury that have been confirmed in the soil surrounding the burial mound present a specific, catastrophic preservation challenge. When the tomb is opened, the specific atmospheric changes will begin an irreversible process of deterioration of everything inside. We know this because of what happened when the tomb containing the Terracotta Army was opened. The original terracotta soldiers were painted in vivid colors. Within seconds of exposure to air, those colors began to oxidize and fade. Within minutes, they were gone. A process that had been perfectly preserved for 2,000 years was destroyed in the time it took to walk into a room. And that was just paint. The organic materials inside the emperor's burial chamber, the silks and the lacquer work and the wooden structures and the organic contents of the burial itself have been preserved for 2,000 years by the specific sealed anaerobic environment of the tomb. The moment that environment changes, everything begins to die, and you cannot close the tomb again. There is no undo. So the Chinese government has made a decision that is simultaneously the most scientifically responsible and the most historically frustrating decision in the history of archaeology. They are waiting for the technology to excavate without destroying, waiting for the science to catch up to the scale of what is inside. And in the meantime, the first emperor lies in his Mercury River Palace, 2,200 years and counting. Stay with me, because what is almost certainly inside that tomb is the most extraordinary collection of ancient artifacts ever assembled in a single burial. And one of them may answer a question that has puzzled historians for 2,000 years. The question is this: how did Qin Shi Huang die? The official story recorded in the ancient texts is that he died on his 5th imperial inspection tour in 210 BC at the age of 49. He was traveling through his empire, as he regularly did, when he became ill and died within weeks. The official cause of death is recorded as illness, but the specific circumstances of his death have generated 2,000 years of suspicion. He died away from the capital. His most trusted minister, a man named Li Si, was traveling with him. Li Si concealed the emperor's death from everyone except the emperor's youngest son, Hu Hai, and a powerful court official named Zhao Gao. For approximately 2 months, the death was kept secret. The imperial procession continued as normal. Food was delivered to the imperial carriage as if the emperor was eating it. Reports were submitted to the carriage for the emperor's approval. The carriage replied with decisions. But the emperor was dead inside the carriage, and the decisions were being made by Li Si and Zhao Gao and Hu Hai. In those 2 months, while the death was being concealed, the 3 conspirators forged a letter in the emperor's name to his eldest son, Fu Su, the rightful heir. The letter ordered Fu Su to commit suicide. Fu Su, believing the letter was genuine, complied. The rightful heir to the greatest empire in the ancient world killed himself based on a forged letter written by the men who were concealing his father's death in a carriage. Hu Hai, the youngest son, became the second emperor. He was completely controlled by Zhao Gao. Within 4 years, the Qin Dynasty, the dynasty that had unified China and created the most powerful empire in the ancient world, had collapsed entirely. And the question that historians have been asking for 2,000 years is this: did Qin Shi Huang really die of illness? Or was he murdered? The mercury elixirs he had been consuming daily for years certainly weakened him. The neurological effects of chronic mercury poisoning include cognitive deterioration, personality changes, increasing paranoia, and ultimately, organ failure. But the specific suspicious circumstances of his death, the concealment, the forged letter, the convenient removal of the rightful heir, the immediate consolidation of power by Li Si and Zhao Gao, all suggest the possibility that the first emperor's death was not entirely natural. When the tomb is eventually opened, whenever that day comes, the preservation of the emperor's body in the mercury-saturated environment may provide the specific forensic evidence that 2,200 years of historical debate has been unable to resolve. The body of the first emperor may contain the answer. It is waiting in the mercury.
The burial mound of Qin Shi Huang sits in Lintong County in Shanxi Province in central China. It has been a UNESCO World Heritage Site since 1987. Millions of tourists visit the Terracotta Army Museum every year. And beneath the hill that the tourists walk past on their way to see the clay soldiers, the first emperor lies in his mercury palace, preserved by the same poison that may have killed him. Surrounded by the rivers of the afterlife empire he ordered built at such extraordinary cost. Protected by the most sophisticated booby trap systems the ancient world could devise. Still waiting. There is a specific lesson in the story of Qin Shi Huang that goes beyond archaeology and beyond history. He spent his life terrified of death. He spent the resources of the most powerful empire on Earth trying to prevent it. He consumed poison daily in the specific belief that it was granting him immortality. And when he died, his ministers concealed his body in a carriage for 2 months rather than announce his death to the world.
The most powerful man who ever lived was so afraid of dying that even the people around him refused to admit he was dead. And now, his body lies preserved in the dark, under a hill in China, more protected than he ever was in life, more permanent than any of his immortality elixirs could have made him. The specific irony of Qin Shi Huang is that he achieved the immortality he was looking for, not through mercury, not through magical herbs from mythical islands, but through the extraordinary scale of what he built and what he buried. His name has been spoken every day for 2,200 years. His tomb is the most famous unopened space on Earth.